Hi everyone, this is Xiao Bai from Susan's family. Today, I'm going to show you a design from the Chinese Aesthetics series, the Huali shawl. This shawl consists of the main part, edging, and Chinese frog buttons. Start by crocheting the main piece, then crochet the border in the corresponding positions on the main part. Lastly, sew on the Chinese frog buttons. Before you start crocheting, refer to the pattern chart. Pick up the corresponding yarn. Cut a segment of about 5 meters in length. Insert it into the bead needle. Take out the beads. Thread all the beads onto this piece of yarn. While threading, pay attention to positioning the yarn and beads correctly. Make sure they don't get tangled together. After you finish threading the beads, remove the sewing needle. Tie the end of the thread into a loose knot. Set it aside for later use. Next, we will crochet the main part. It is divided into two sections, section 1 and section 2. First, let's start with section 1. We will start from foundation chain and work back and forth along the starting chain. While crocheting, distribute the increased stitches evenly. The stitch techniques used include chain, double crochets, and single crochets. Please watch me demonstrate the specific crocheting method. Let's start with the foundation chain. This shawl is crocheted using 2 strands of yarn, held together as one strand. Take out 2 corresponding skeins of yarn. Pull 1 yarn tail from each skein. Combine the 2 strands and crochet them together. To make it easier for you to watch, I will demonstrate using cotton yarn here. The colors are random. For specific yarn, color schemes, and hook sizes, please refer to the detail page of our product and the paper instructions. Hold the yarn with the left hand. Crochet the corresponding number of chain. Here, I will demonstrate using a sample swatch. It has fewer stitches. That's how you complete the foundation chain. Next, we'll work row 1. Start with 3 chains as the turning chain. This counts as 1 double crochet stitch. This corresponds to the last chain in the starting chain. That is, the 4th chain from the end. Then on the 5th chain from the end, pick up the top loop of 1 strand of yarn. Crochet 1 double crochet stitch. One chain, corresponding to the chain below it. Treat the double crochet and the chain as one cluster pattern. Continue by picking up the top loop of 1 strand of yarn on the chain to the left. Crochet the cluster pattern. That is, 1 double crochet stitch. 1 chain. It covers the 2 chains below. In this row, always pick up the top loop of one strand of yarn from the chain, and crochet the cluster pattern. Keep crocheting until there are 2 chains positions left. When you reach the corresponding position on the remaining 2 chains, crochet double crochets separately. The first row is completed. Take this row with the clearer texture side as the right side of the entire piece. Next, crochet the second row. Start with 3 chains as a beginning, which counts as 1 double crochet stitch. This corresponds to the stitch on the edge. Turn the piece over. Pay attention when crocheting on the wrong side. The stitch is in the upper left corner. Start from this stitch on the left. Crochet 1 double crochet stitch. In the chain space, pick up the entire chain braid, and crochet 1 double crochet stitch. Crochet 1 double crochet stitch in the adjacent stitch. Crochet 1 double crochet stitch in the chain space. This row consists of double crochet stitches and chain spaces corresponding to each double crochet stitch. Follow this pattern and complete the row. Lastly, on the beginning chain, pick up the top 2 loops of the chain, crochet 1 double crochet stitch. The second row is now complete. Continue to the third row. Start with 3 chains as the turning chain. Turn the work piece. Begin crocheting the grid pattern from the leftmost stitch. There are a total of 3 groups. After completing, crochet 1 double crochet stitch in the leftmost stitch. 1 chain. Then crochet 1 more double crochet stitch in the same stitch. 1 chain. Treat the stitches worked in this stitch as one increase pattern. This corresponds to the 2 stitches below. Continue crocheting 3 more grid patterns downward. After completing, crochet 1 increase pattern, which means crocheting 1 double crochet stitch in the same stitch. 1 chain, 1 double crochet stitch, 1 chain. The increase pattern corresponds to the 2 stitches below. This row consists of repeating 3 mesh patterns with intervals. Crochet 1 increase pattern. Everyone follows this pattern and continues crocheting until there are 2 stitch positions remaining. When you reach the corresponding position, crochet 1 double crochet stitch on the stitch on the left. On the beginning chain, pick up the top 2 strands of the chain. Crochet 1 double crochet stitch. Row 3 is completed. Now crochet row 4. Start with 3 chains as the beginning chain. Turn the piece over. On the stitch on the left, crochet 1 double crochet stitch. 2 chains. Skip 1 chain space. On the next stitch, crochet 1 single crochet stitch. 5 chains. Skip 2 chain spaces. On the next stitch, crochet 1 single crochet stitch. 5 chain. Skip 2 chain spaces. Crochet 1 single crochet stitch. 5 chain. For this row, always skip 2 chains and work a single crochet in the corresponding stitch, with 5 chains between each 2 single crochets. Continue following this pattern until there are only 3 stitches left. When you reach the corresponding position, chain 2. Skip 1 chain space. And on the remaining 2 stitches, work a double crochet on each. The 4th row is now completed, and we'll move on to the 5th row. Start with 1 chain, which serves as the turning chain for single crochet, and it doesn't count as 1 stitch. Turn your work piece. Begin from the first stitch, and work 1 single crochet. Work 1 single crochet in the left stitch. And in the large chain space between the single crochets, work 3 double crochets. One chain. and 3 double crochets. Treat the stitches worked in this chain space as one cluster. Then work 1 single crochet in the next chain space beside it. In the following chain space, work 1 cluster, which means 3 double crochets. One chain, and 3 double crochets. Work 1 single crochet in the adjacent chain space. For this row, use the chain spaces from the previous row, work clusters and single crochets separately. Follow this pattern, continuing until you finish the last large chain space. After completing the final cluster, work single crochets into the remaining 2 stitches. Complete the 5th row. Move on to work the 6th row. Continue crocheting the 6th row. Start with 3 chains as the turning chain. Turn the work piece. Work 1 double crochet into the stitch on the left. Chain 3. In the chain space of the cluster, work 1 single crochet. Chain 3. On the adjacent single crochet, work 1 corresponding double crochet. Chain 3. In the chain space of the cluster, work 1 single crochet. Chain 3. For this row, work single crochets in the chain spaces of the patterns. Work double crochets into the single crochet stitches. Separate the single crochets and double crochets with a chain of 3. Follow this pattern, continuing until you reach the last chain space of the pattern. Upon reaching the corresponding position, work another chain of 3. On the last 2 single crochet stitches, work 1 double crochet into each stitch. Row 6 is now complete. Next, we will start row 7. Begin with 3 chains as your turning chain. Turn your work piece. Work 1 mesh pattern into the left stitch. Work 1 mesh pattern in the adjacent chain space. Correspondingly, work one mesh pattern into the single crochet stitch. Work one mesh pattern into the chain space. Work one mesh pattern into the double crochet stitch. For the rest of this row, you will be working into chain spaces, as well as stitches, to create the mesh patterns. Follow this pattern, continuing until there are 2 stitches remaining. When you reach the corresponding position, on the last 2 stitches, work 1 double crochet into each stitch. This completes row 7. Measure the dimensions of your fabric piece. If it differs significantly from the chart, it is recommended to adjust your tension. Recrochet the section. Consider rows 2-7 as one pattern repeat. For the remaining part, continue working in this pattern sequence. Repeat the cycle. In the second row of each pattern repeat, you will need to increase stitches. When increasing, pay attention. Make sure not to crochet the wrong number of mesh spaces. No need to increase stitches when crocheting the last repeat. Everyone, refer to the chart. Complete the remaining part of section 1. Up to this point, the explanation for section 1 is complete. After finishing section 1, move on to crochet section 2. Continue crocheting back and forth upward along section 1. The new stitch techniques used include DC2 tog, DC2 in 1, DC3 tog, DC3 bobble. Please watch the demonstration. The first 2 rows of section 2. Do not use any new stitch techniques. Everyone, refer to the chart and complete these 2 rows. Here, I have already finished crocheting the sample. Continue with row 3. Start with 1 DC2 tog. The technique for this stitch is as follows. First, work 2 incomplete double crochets. Since it's the beginning of the row, this decrease is a bit special. Start by crocheting 2 chains as a beginning chain. This counts as 1 incomplete double crochet. It corresponds to the stitch on the edge. Turn the work piece. Crochet 1 incomplete double crochet in the corresponding position. Yarn over. Insert the hook into the corresponding position. Draw the yarn through. Yarn over again. Pull through the first 2 loops on the hook. 1 incomplete double crochet is now finished. You have now completed 2 incomplete double crochets separately. Lastly, yarn over and draw through all loops on the hook. This completes 1 DC2 tog. The stitch above to the right is the result of this stitch. Continue referring to the pattern. Keep crocheting until you reach the position just before the last DC2 tog. Pay attention to the number of chain in between while crocheting. When you reach the corresponding position, crochet 1 DC2 tog. First, make 2 incomplete double crochets. Yarn over. Insert the hook into the corresponding position. Yarn over. Draw the yarn through. Yarn over again. Pull through the first 2 loops on the hook. That's an incomplete double crochet. Continue making incomplete double crochets in the corresponding positions. Yarn over one last time. Pull through all the loops on your hook. The DC2 tog is now complete. At the same time, the third row is also finished. For the next rows 4 to 13, just refer to the pattern and crochet accordingly. In row 14, you will encounter a DC3 tog. Here, I'll use a swatch to demonstrate the method for the DC3 tog. First, pick up the corresponding position, and make 3 incomplete double crochets. Refer to the chart for the exact position. The placement is random in this swatch. Yarn over the hook one last time. Pull through all loops on the hook. The DC3 tog is now complete. I'll demonstrate it one more time. Start by making 3 incomplete double crochets. Pay attention to the insertion point while crocheting. The placement is random in this swatch. Lastly, yarn over the hook. Pull through all the loops on your hook. The DC3 tog is now complete. In row 15, you also encounter an increase in double crochets. That means making 2 double crochets in one stitch. Everyone, refer to the pattern chart. Complete these rows of crocheting. Up to this point, rows 4 to 25 have been explained. Next, we will crochet row 26. Start by crocheting 5 chain. Turn the work piece. In the chain space next to it, crochet 1 DC3 bobble. Start by making 3 incomplete double crochets. Then yarn over the hook, and pull through all the loops on your hook. The DC3 bobble is now complete. We'll refer to this as the bobble stitch from now on. Next, crochet 2 chains. In the same chain space, make another bobble stitch. First, work 3 incomplete double crochets. Then yarn over the hook, and draw through all the loops on your hook. There's another bobble stitch, now complete. Next, chain 3. In the stitch between the chains below, work 1 single crochet. Chain 3 again. In the next chain space, work 4 bobble stitches. Separate the bobble stitches with 2 chains each. Treat this stitch worked in the chain space as one puff stitch pattern. Move on to chain 3. Then work 1 single crochet in the adjacent stitch. Work 1 single crochet in the left chain space. Work 1 single crochet in the adjacent stitch. Chain 3. In the chain space between the double crochets, work 1 puff stitch pattern set, that is, 4 bobble stitches, with 2 chains between them. In this row, work the patterns in the corresponding positions, alternating puff stitch motifs and single crochets, separated by chain spaces. Refer to the chart, and continue to complete this row. For the last chain space, work 1 puff stitch. Two chains. 1 puff stitch. Two chains. Then pick up the stitch and work 1 double crochet. Row 26 is now completed, and at the same time, section 2 is also finished. After completing, there's no need to fasten off the yarn. Next, we will crochet the edging. Start by crocheting 2 rows along the sides of the main part, including the beginning and ending edges as well as the starting chain. Lastly, crochet 1 round around the outer edge. When crocheting the last row of section 2, you need to add beads. The new stitches used include single crochet increase, and 3 single crochets into 1 stitch. Please see the demonstration. Continuing with the yarn from section 2, crochet row 1, start with 1 chain as the beginning chain. Then rotate the piece clockwise. Here is the position for the double crochet. Crochet 3 single crochets on the side of this double crochet. At the beginning chain position, pick up the braid of the beginning chain, and crochet 2 single crochets. Next comes the double crochet. Crochet 3 single crochets. Pick up the braid of the beginning chain again, and crochet 2 single crochets. This is the position for the double crochet. Treat the following stitches as a sequence to repeat. Crochet 2 stitches, then 3 stitches, and then 2 stitches again. Repeat this sequence, continuing all the way down the edge until 1 row is left. As you crochet, pay attention and refer to the pattern chart. Skip the single crochet row and leave it unworked. When you reach the corresponding position, crochet 3 single crochets in that row's corresponding position. Next, we reach the starting chain row position. Pick up the remaining 2 strands of the chain. This is the same insertion point as the double crochet stitch. Crochet 1 single crochet here. While crocheting, take the yarn tail from the starting chain and wrap it in as you go. Pick up the remaining 2 strands on the left chain. Crochet 1 single crochet. For the adjacent chain space, pick up the entire chain braid. Crochet 1 single crochet increase, that is, crochet 2 single crochets in the same stitch. In the adjacent chain space, crochet 1 single crochet increase. Treat the stitches crocheted in the chain space as one sequence. You will work 2 single crochet increases and 1 single crochet. Then repeat this stitch pattern until there are 2 stitches remaining. When you reach the corresponding position, pick up the remaining 2 strands of the chain. Crochet 1 single crochet. The beginning chain corresponds to this slip stitch. Pick up the 2 strands of the chain. Crochet 1 single crochet increase. Next, on this side, the method is similar to the other side. You can complete this side on your own. This completes the first row. Now, let's move on to the second row. Start with 3 chains as the beginning chain. Turn the work piece. Next, crochet 1 cross DCS with CH. From now on, we will call this a crossing stitch. Skip 2 stitches. Crochet 1 double crochet into the 3rd stitch. Chain 1. On the right, skip 1 stitch and crochet 1 double crochet. As you crochet, wrap the double crochet from the left. This completes 1 crossing stitch. Now continue with the next one. Skip 2 stitches. Crochet 1 double crochet into the 3rd stitch. Chain 1. On the right, skip 1 stitch and crochet 1 double crochet. As you crochet, wrap the double crochet from the left. Another crossing stitch is completed. Repeat crocheting the crossing stitches. Continue until there is 1 stitch left on this edge. When you reach the corresponding position, skip this single crochet. Crochet 1 double crochet into the adjacent single crochet. Chain 3. Crochet 1 double crochet into the stitch on the right. Continue crocheting the crossing pattern as usual. Crochet until there is 1 stitch left in the starting row. When you reach the corresponding position, skip this single crochet. Crochet 1 double crochet into the adjacent single crochet. Chain 3. Crochet 1 double crochet into the single crochet on the right. Continue crocheting the crossing pattern as usual. Crochet until you complete this row. Finish with 1 double crochet. This completes the second row. Move on to crochet the third round. Start with 1 chain to begin. Turn the work piece. Crochet 1 single crochet into the hole between the 2 double crochets below. The chain space in the middle of the crossing stitch. Crochet 1 single crochet. 3 chains. 1 single crochet. In the space between the 2 crossing stitches, crochet 1 single crochet. In the chain space in the middle of the crossing stitch, crochet 1 single crochet. 3 chains. 1 single crochet. Everyone, refer to the pattern, all the way down to the other side. When crocheting is finished, take out the bead. Untie this slip knot. Leave a tail of about 5 centimeters, and place it on top of the piece. First, crochet 1 single crochet on the edge with double crochets. As you crochet, weave in the yarn tail together. Then make another single crochet in the same stitch. Fold the reserved yarn tail back. And crochet while wrapping it in. For each single crochet row, match up with 1 single crochet. Now we're at the last row of section 2. In the first chain space, make a SC3 in 1, which means making 3 single crochets in the same stitch. Then place a bead down. In the next chain space, crochet 1 SC3 in 1. Then place another bead down. In the adjacent chain space, crochet 1 SC3 in 1. After completing it, drop 1 bead. Work 1 SC3 in 1 in each chain space. After finishing the SC3 in 1, place 1 bead. Pay attention to tidying up the fabric piece while crocheting. To prevent the yarn from shrinking, this will avoid making the fabric piece uneven. Follow this pattern, and keep crocheting until you reach the chain space, just before the group of 3 consecutive single crochets. When you get to the corresponding position, don't place a bead here. On the left side at the position of the 3 consecutive single crochets, work 1 single crochet into the middle stitch. Then place 1 bead. When you encounter another group of 3 consecutive single crochets below, always work the single crochet into the middle stitch of that group. Crochet 1 single crochet, then place 1 bead. For the other areas, work 3 single crochets into 1 chain space, and place 1 bead in between. Everyone, follow this pattern, refer to the chart, and complete the last row of section 2. When crocheting, pay attention to tidying up the fabric piece. After completing the last chain space of this row, there's no need to place beads as you move downward, after tidying up the fabric piece, and making it flat. Leave about 10 centimeters of the thread used for stringing beads. Then cut it off. Thread the remaining yarn tail into a darning needle. And weave in the tail along the texture on the wrong side. Once it's secured tightly, trim off the excess tail. Lastly, crochet 3 single crochets. And after completing them, leave about 10 centimeters of yarn tail, then break the yarn. Next, we will finish off by binding off. Pass the yarn from front to back, inserting it into the first single crochet stitch of this round. Then bring it back to the chain where the tail is located. Adjust slightly, so that this bind-off method won't show any slip stitch marks on the surface, making it look neater and more attractive. Lastly, tuck in the yarn tail along the texture on the wrong side. Once it's secured tightly, cut off the excess tail. The third round of crocheting is now complete. At the same time, the edging has also been finished. Now let's sew on the Chinese frog button. It consists of a male part and a female part. The one with the circle is the female part. Place the female part on the right, and the male part on the left. This left and right distinction is determined when the right side of the fabric is facing you. Sew them onto the corresponding positions at the beginning and end of the edges in section 1 of the main piece. Please watch the demonstration. Let's start with sewing on the female part. Refer to the chart and pick up the corresponding color yarn. Cut a 30 centimeter length. Thread it through the needle. Pick up the female part. Attach it between rows 1 to 3 on the right side of the main piece in section 1. The edge of the circle should be roughly level with the edge of the fabric. Once the position fits properly, begin sewing. Secure a few times through the edge holes along the border. There's no specific requirement for the method, just make sure it's secure. Also fix the ring area slightly. Lastly, tie a knot with the yarn tail on the wrong side to secure it. That's how you sew the female part. Sew the male part symmetrically to the female part. After positioning it correctly, you can fasten it to check the effect. If it fits properly, proceed with sewing. Pay attention to securing this longitudinal part a few times as well. Up to this point, the explanation of the Chinese frog is completed. At the same time, the entire shawl has also been explained thoroughly. If you have any questions during the process, don't hesitate to reach us via our website. Susan's Family, supporting your handwork experience, sharing the joy of life. Thank you all for watching. See you in the next episode.